Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley. I am joined tonight by our Director of Propaganda, Joe.
Evening, everybody.
My good friend and co-host, Garth.
How are we doing tonight?
Yep. And, of course, our very special guest, Jon Patton from the Gun Collective.
Hello. Hi. How the hell are you?
Oh, we are wonderful. Everyone's super chipper and not at all already angry when we get into tonight's topic.
What happened?
Oh, yay. Outdated shotgun things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the rage is here. It's just available at all times.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of what keeps me warm at night. Just the hate fire.
I thought it was all the dudes in your bed.
No, there's generally only like, I don't even know if you can call my dog a dude. He's really kind of a bitch.
Atreyu?
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Super good name. But he's mama's special boy, that's for damn sure.
Okay. All right.
It's a tism.
So Joe, did you do anything fun with guns in the last week or so?
Yeah, Garth and I went out to the USPSA match Saturday afternoon. Actually, we went out Friday night and stayed in Deadwood and wasted some money, but we shot that. That was 6 stages of pretty quick and fast shooting. I ran the PCC again. I felt a lot faster than I did even the last two previous matches, the one in Pierre and the one in Sioux Falls. Did drop a couple in the classifiers that I wasn't happy about, but my speed was up. My accuracy wasn't as down as far as I thought it would, pushing the speed more. So it was a good time. Great bunch of guys out there. So
Right on. Garth?
I mean, yeah, like Joe said, we went and shot the match. It was fun. Yes, I got first out of 7 people, so look out.
Woo!
I was an open class too, so I don't really count that.
Garth's like, I'm going to go shoot open because I don't want to my knees bother me, and I just don't care how I do. And then he wins the stupid class. So.
I mean, to be fair, if the guy hadn't DQ'd, I would have got my butt kicked by about 30 seconds. So, I mean, asterisk by the first place. But I do that. To be fair. But yeah, beyond that, I've been looking to build another range at the farm, trying to dig up what might be considered one of the worst possible ideas of my life and spend a whole bunch of money on building a big berm, 30 by 30, and then possibly doing like a 100-yard one as well, and then comparing prices of different material to build said range. And my father's of the opinion I need to build it out of dirt, and then I showed him how much that would actually cost, and I think he's backed off that idea finally. But so I'm fighting him on that. And then Nick, remember a long time ago when I said I don't want to get into red dots because if I buy one red dot and shoot it, I will become obsessed and then buy more?
Yep.
I bought 5 in the last 2 days.
Good God.
Every gun is going to have a red dot now. Yeah, I bought 4 Gideon Optics red dots, and then I bought another Hollow Sun, and I've been on a craze. I have an issue. I have a problem.
Sounds like it.
No, 100%.
We are aware, but that's why we love you.
Oh, I know. Why buy 1 when you can buy 6?
I don't disagree.
So, yeah. That's been my ventures.
Jon, I mean, other than living in the world of guns, anything fun for you this week?
Yeah, actually, this is a rare week where I wasn't shitting on a gun right away. So I went up to northern PA with a few buddies and made a first round hit at a target at 1,776 yards. It was a Liberty Bell at 1,776 yards, first round hit. And on that same shot, the stock broke and the gun couldn't be shot again.
Oh.
Which, I mean, one and done, but that's the way to go because your hit percentage is 100%.
Right, right. So it was with a newer barrel concept from Shaw Barrels, which is pretty cool. It's a 300 PRC 20-incher. and that was pretty fun. And then I also was one, like just our little group of dudes. There was 3 of us, and we were the first people in the Western Hemisphere to shoot the Luchansky Stinger 9. And we were filming a video on that, which is pretty rad.
That gun looks super rad.
It's really interesting. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because the gun's not here yet. It'll be a little bit before it makes it here, but I got to shoot one of the early ones. I think it was serial number 2, and it's interesting.
Right on. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a rare opportunity.
But it's a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. I guess what I did could be argued as variables of cool. I spent while these guys were shooting a match, I was working, but I was working with machine guns all weekend. So,
I mean, that's not a bad gig.
Yeah,
did you blow up a 50 cal?
No, my entire job was to stop people from doing that. So I successfully ran a battalion of people through crew serve ranges without them damaging any weapons.
Did anyone die?
No. No one died.
You hesitated on that.
I mean, we wanted to, but I was voted down.
Joe, easy with the hand signals.
His heart goes out to you.
Feeling bad or something else?
No, I was running machine gun ranges, so I spent 2 days just with 240s, 249s, and 50s, and doing classes and working with people on that.
That sounds fun.
So, oh yeah, it's fun the first 70 times you do it, and then
it gets
becomes
old fast.
Then it becomes a job.
Yeah.
But it's still fun because you step out and it's like you hear the sound. They sing the song of my people, which is not the fire phone.
My bad. That was a weird segue.
Thought
that'll happen.
Yep. So speaking of weird segues, we're just going to roll in tonight's topic where we talk about tonight's going to be kind of interesting. So tonight is one where we have someone on with us who's well versed in what's going on for what the industry is doing, or at least how they package things. And sometimes people even listen to him, like as far as industry people go, except on putting pricing things on their website so we can make them up. But there is you've also done a handful of comments and made some things about it is 2025. There are certain things that should just be expected.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I know that I've listened with what you said about handguns and rifles and stuff like that. And I honestly couldn't agree more on a lot of it, because it's your stance of, if you're going to get a new pistol, if you're putting out a new handgun, like a new to market handgun, it should be optics ready. It should come with a minimum of 3 mags, and it should come in something other than a cardboard box.
Yeah.
And hey, that's kind of the bare minimum.
I mean, there are gun companies releasing handguns with a single magazine right now. They think that's acceptable. And then the mags are $30 a piece. Like, F you, dude. Can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Well, I mean, it works so well for the Bren 10.
Yeah, that's such a successful gun and is definitely still around.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, you want a magazine? How about maybe? And we'll ship you the gun, but not a mag.
I don't understand the lack of customer focus in the gun industry. I don't get it, because it seems so easy, to just do what people want and put another mag in the box. Because I think it has almost gotten to where 2 is the standard, and I am out there pushing for 3 mags to be the standard, 3 or more. And I've actually had gun companies come to me and say, because of what you said, we changed it. Several gun companies have told me this, which is rad.
So this is one where a company who's got a lot of flack in the past for being a traitor to the industry and stuff like that. And this is specifically on handguns. And we're gonna come back to our main topic. But one company I see that is actually like they're even putting flyers up, not just like on the FFL side, but in dealers. Springfield Armory. They're shipping guns with 2 mags. And then it's like, hey, this is this is their spring whatever buy event. You buy a gun, and then you fill this out, and you get whatever their house red dot brand name is, Dragonfly, Hex, whatever.
Right.
You get one of those and 3 additional mags.
That's incredible.
So bad.
Like if you go buy a new Echelon right now, you get 5 mags and a dot. And
It may not be the best dot, but holy shit, that's a great deal. Especially because the Echelon is a freaking fantastic pistol.
yeah, I picked one up a week ago, and I haven't shot it yet because I found one used at a deal I couldn't pass up. So
What size did you get? The full size or the?
yep, the full size. It's an older used one.
You're gonna love it.
And I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna try one of this out. Threw a Halson on it and TLR1 because I had one laying around. And just like, hey, this will work. This is gonna be a backup gun in case I'm not allowed to take the M17 that I normally use for duty classes to a class. Because that's a whole nother discussion that we're not going to do tonight.
We don't need 2 angry people on the podcast. So.
But segueing in, we were talking about the state of the AR in the industry. And I've said several times that this is like, if you look back in times, it's like, man, that was the golden age of cars. Like the golden age of American cars was, like the muscle cars and stuff that everyone, the iconic cars. You get into the import cars in like the late 90s and 2000s, and that was like the golden age of import cars.
Yes, it was.
And, like everything was there. Parts were plentiful. There was a bunch of really cool stuff. Right now, we're kind of hitting the golden age of guns.
You think?
I really do think we are because we're
okay.
I'll back this claim up with we're hitting a point where we can cheaply mass produce things to a spec that is high enough that everything is reliable. And with the advancement of CNC machining and stuff like that, like I know you're kind of a shotgunner, but if you look back at like a Browning Auto 5,
sure,
right? I have a Browning A5 that's a 1947 model made in Belgium.
Hell yeah.
And it doesn't have pins. It's all screws. And those are screws that some dude had to like hand machine. And like that was a cost prohibitive shotgun back in the day. It was a very nice, very fine shotgun. And now we have Turkey mass producing shotguns at a rate that like, I think they're going to produce more shotguns than there are people in the world.
I think it's getting to a point where shotguns cost almost as much as a flat of shells.
Yeah.
Which
like
is incredible.
Yeah, it's like says shotgun shells are too high in price, but also the race to the bottom of shotguns.
It's almost like this weird thing where shells are going up and those shotguns are just dirt cheap.
But you see the same thing coming with like where with 10 years ago. So I've been shooting for quite a while. And I remember, so when I bought my first handgun, my very first handgun I purchased, I bought it for $600, brand new in Cabela's. And this was in 2003. And it was actually, I didn't buy it. My mom had to because I wasn't 21. I came home on leave from Iraq and they're like, oh, we can't sell you a handgun because you're not 21. But
thank you for your service. Now piss off.
Yeah. So my mom bought me, and this is peak 2011. Or I'm not 2011, 2003. Peak 2003. I bought a Beretta 96 in 40 cal. Because, it's like, oh, I carry a Beretta. Oh, like I turned mine into the armory to come home on leave. And then was like, oh, hey, like I'll get this, but 40 cal, man, everyone knows this 40 is where it's at. Like this is the round that's going to be around forever.
How that
And
worked out?
it has since been converted to 9mm. But that gun was $600, brand new in 2003.
Wow.
It is still $600.
Really?
They're actually, I think they're $700 brand new now.
I'm gonna go look at what their MSRP is.
They're almost inflation proof. And but like when you look at that, at the same time, I had guys that were looking at buying ARs when we got home, and they were all, $1,500 to $2,000. And, or like $1,000 and up was what they were buying, for a Rock River AR. That right at the time of the Brady sunset, it was like, oh, you're going to spend a minimum of $1,000 for a junk AR. And then you spent $80 on a 30-round PMag. They're not a 30-round PMag, a 30-round GI mag, because no one had 30-round mags because of the 10-round restrictions. So when you look at where we're at now, an accurate rifle is not hard to find for cheap.
How are we defining accurate?
So I'm going to say that accurate rifle is not sub MOA, but 1 MOA with quality ammo from a bench at 100.
Okay. And what is cheap?
Well, I've got that performance out of a PSA for $400.
Wow.
So like I have an optics testing rifle that is a PSA 16-inch upper. And I use that because I got it and it shot, a 1 MOA was a 0.96-inch 5-shot group. And that's just where it lives.
That's solid.
I'm like, nope, this is it was a $400 upper, and I put it on a whatever arrow lower or something I have laying around. I built a lower out for it. And it's, hey, I know what this does. This gun shoots about 1 MOA. So if I put an optic on it, I know what it's going to do. But I'm going to say sub $1,000, 1 MOA is not hard to do with either a semi-auto or a bolt.
Okay.
Like, look at a Ruger American.
I think you have to narrow that down a little more, because you can get to a half MOA at $1,000 pretty solid. I think you're talking like, you're looking at, you're saying cheap. I'm thinking $500-$600, and you better be able to shoot MOA ish.
Yeah. So let's call it if you're shooting a 2-inch group, a 2 MOA group would be. 2 MOA group is considered combat effective for.
Say,
like,
you're gonna go with the military. The
military
mil spec.
standard. Mil spec is a 2 MOA group.
And mil spec is wrong.
Yes.
I'm not saying they're wrong.
I know what you're saying. I'm just stating for the record that mil spec is bullshit.
But that is the, like, we'll say that it's like, okay, 2-inch group at 100. Now that is not overly accurate. And I'm not going to say this as a ding against anyone, but that is actually more accurate than what a lot of people are capable of shooting. Like, as someone who just worked with, about 500 people, getting them to zero that are trained, getting them to stay consistently inside of a 6 MOA threshold at zero can be a struggle.
So as the average gun person goes that says they're a gun guy, that's not too bad. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying if you can maintain a sub 2 MOA group with a $500 rifle, you are within the realm of, you should be able to have a good time, shoot competition, and be effective for most things. Like, you're not going to be a sniper.
Oh gosh, no, I know I'm not a sniper.
But like, let's say realistically, for what most people are buying rifles for is, one, they're buying them for the entertainment factor and having fun with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking to go beyond, like, mag dumping into trash, 2 MOA is acceptable for home defense, I would say.
Oh, I would say that.
John, you look like you have a thought.
I have lots of those.
Okay. Was the 2 MOA acceptable for the use case I've said?
For home defense, yeah.
Yeah. But it's the reason why I say the golden age is going beyond. I got too focused on MOA and cost, but when we look at the amount of platforms we have to choose from, anyone can get something that gets your groove on for roughly the same price. We just talked about the Springfield Echelon. Springfield Echelon, from everything I've seen, is a fine firearm. I've yet to find anyone who dislikes it. Put that against a Glock. The only thing people want about from the Echelon is, I wanted to take Glock mags.
Which honestly is fucking stupid anymore.
Yeah, but that is that's really the only thing it has. But if you put an Echelon versus a Glock, you're looking at the same price point, and you'll have people that will vehemently defend Glocks because Glock perfection, and versus actually innovating and doing things customers want.
Yep.
Right? Is that too far off base for saying that?
I don't think so.
And when you try and extrapolate that across the entire industry, you have, like, even though HK, thinks you suck and they hate you, the VP series, like the VP9, is not a bad handgun.
I've been carrying one for almost 10 years.
Yeah. So, like, you look at that, I haven't ever shot their whatever compact skinny thing, and I probably won't, but like their 365 competitor. But when you look at,
I did a review on it.
But like, if we're just going to talk at like that VZ9 size, or like that duty carry sized handgun, you go Canic, Smith & Wesson M&P, Springfield Echelon, Sig 320. I don't care if anybody hates them because the internet told them they needed to today. Beretta APX, the Ross Martin, the you start going through. I mean, we could keep naming decent handguns all day long. Walthers, right. And they're all within $200 in price point. At this point, it's quite literally find what fits you and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of, you look at how much feature sets are starting to become standardized because they're starting to listen to customers, and I think you might have something to do with that. But going through, if you yell loud enough, people start to listen if you have enough audience. Yeah. But going through what these things are, it's okay. They have these are standardized, and this is just the handgun side of the house, which is where I think the AR world needs to go, where it's, hey, we're getting all this feature set and we're starting to have things done right, but it's becoming ergonomics, what fits your hand, and triggers. Like, that's arguably the big thing because they all fit in the same size box. But where the AR gets hard is it's all the same operating system. And when you're trying to improve, how do you justify a company or justify to the average gun owner or the average guy in your comment section that, the $400 PSA, okay, yep, I realize it's here. But when you go, all right, the $1,300 PSA Saber is still not as nice a rifle as the $1,300 Mitchell Defense.
The nuance of build quality and material selection, feature set, there's so much nuance that a sort of newer or inexperienced shooter just isn't going to pick up on.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much institutional bullshit with ARs that I think it's difficult to follow unless you just had it beaten against your head for a long time.
And that's fair.
I mean, that's kind of why you guys exist, right?
It really is. It really is why we exist, because we're the ones beating it against people's heads.
Right. Which is fair. Somebody needs to.
And also it's a large portion of it is when Sean conned me into doing this. It was because, answering questions that people had.
Right.
And, you could go down where going beyond what the normal internet rage fight is. And when you, AR Drew says I convinced him to get a Glock.
Why are you doing this? Don't be that guy.
Well, no, he can, but he should just test it for mouthfeel later. But
that's a suicide joke.
It is. Don't. We care, just not that much. But no, so we are looking at it and trying to get into the nuances. When we talk about feature sets, what are the feature sets that you think should come standard on an AR that you're looking at? So, like,
are you asking me or the group?
I am, well, the group as a whole.
Okay.
Because I know that everyone kind of has their opinion. So if you're looking at, let's say we're going to look at that, we'll call it that $1,200, like $1,200 to $1,300, price point, kind of where that Mitchell Defense, the we're not looking at bargain basement, entry level ARs, but we're looking at, all right, we're going to get into a
solid mid tier.
Yep, solid mid tier.
Got it.
What are the feature sets you think one should have?
Should or like is on the market?
Well, let's go should and then what is.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Anybody want to go? I've talked a bunch. Joe, Garth, how about you guys?
I'm a weird subset. I'm not. I've never bought. I take that back. I have, but I wouldn't. I'm not one that's gonna go buy an AR off the shelf. So I really don't care what it comes with because I'm going to take the time to build to the spec that I want to use it for. And yeah, we've said in the past, and I've said it, if don't let anything be your barrier to entry. So that means if you have to go buy a $400 rifle that sucks and comes with nothing, and then slowly build up on that by building parts or adding to it, you had something to start with, you got involved, and then you can build to where you want to go. Like any of us in this room, and it's going to come up, the magazine issue. I don't care if it comes with no magazines because I've got 30 of them sitting on my shelf right now. I don't need them to give me something. And that I can see, and I'm jumping ahead into what's going to be an argument here. But
Gideon says 3 megs in the box are piss off, Jon Patton.
It's true. I've said that several times.
Does it have to be, are you saying a PMag then, or what are they just throwing 3 GI mags? Because certain, it's not like you go back to the pistols. Yeah, you better give me a mag because most of them are proprietary. Like, I can't just buy a bunch of SIG mags and throw them in a Glock, or M&P mags and throw them in my SIG. An AR mag, I can buy a TACOM, I can buy the Hex mags, GI mags, P mags, like, depending on what fits your person, so.
Okay.
No, I guess I'm the opposite of these two guys because I am the guy that goes out and buys ARs. I don't like to build. And sure, it'd be nice if it came with, let's be real, most ARs now on the market come with at least Magpul furniture nowadays. And you can't, I don't like to shit on them because I don't go out and buy other stuff. Magpul's a respectable company. They've got good products and stuff. So that doesn't bother me either. Would it be nice if you got like some optic rings or something like that? Some do, some don't. They promote products, but it's all really depends on what companies are partnered with. It'd be cool, to get, say, like a VZ grip on any AR that I purchase.
I see what you did there.
I was waiting for it.
Because the unique features of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options available and shorty versions as well. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. You can even get grips for my beloved Berettas. And there is one coupon code that is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
That was one of the slickest segues into a sponsor spot I've ever heard.
Oh no, he usually does it way better than that. But
was dynamite.
I was waiting for it to really to flow. But no, I'm not the guy that goes out and buys $1,200 rifles either. I'd rather buy the $600 rifle and then put the accessories I want on there to turn it into the $1,200 rifle. So,
yep.
Okay.
So, John, what's your thoughts?
I think you're all wrong. I mean, we have assembled and acquired various versions of AR-15s, and I would say the mid-tier is kind of where most enthusiasts live. I think what should be standard is a good quality barrel, some other kind of muzzle device besides a fucking A2. Jesus Christ, stop it. I think a decent pistol grip like a B5 or a Magpul or a die-free company, those are all acceptable. A decent stock, it has to be fucking adjustable, or a nice fixed stock, depending, if you're going DMR style, that's also acceptable. And I want an M-lock handguard. I don't want a fucking quad rail because I'm not a neckbeard nerd. I don't know why quad rails are making a return. You should all fucking choke on a fucking railroad spike. That is the worst shit ever. It was gone, and then somebody brought it the fuck back for some reason. Stupid.
The retro.
Yeah, well, it's not retro. It's fucking bad. It's just bad.
We hit
don't
that
need
on our
all that fucking rail space. Sorry.
Pintos are retro too.
Yeah, let's bring back the fucking exploding cars. All right, so that, and I think a forged receiver set is acceptable with good tolerances, good machining, and a set of sights on there. And I think there should be 3 fucking magazines of decent quality in the box. I think it goes without saying, Joe, the point you were making is like, they'll just put shitty mags in the box. Well, fuck that company. If they're putting shitty mags in the box, then they can eat a fucking dick. That's bullshit. We as customers should demand better. That's what I think. Like, if you're going to put a mag in the box, it better fucking work. It better not be a pile of trash, right?
So that's the point that I was actually waiting to make about mags as well, because I know Joe touched on yeah, we've got them because some people buy them by the 100 meg case, and or at least I've seen hundreds of deals where it's like, hey, buy 10 P mags and get whatever, and it's under $100. And so, yeah, I have a pile of P mags, and I always say that you should buy mags and ammo in what would be considered generational wealth. Make sure your grandkids never run out of magazines or ammo. But
I mean, magazines are fucking disposable items. They wear out, they break. Be prepared to throw them the fuck in the trash.
But it's also where, yeah, a $60 Sig mag is hard to deal with because they're stupid on their prices. But it's like, yeah, we're saying you should throw 3 of those in with the pistol because they're stupid expensive. A P mag is $7. Like, you should put that in. And I do agree that you should have some form of sights come with your gun, because it's, well, yes, we're all going to pull them out of the box. And there was a time, even on bolt guns, where almost every bolt gun came with iron sights on it. And then you had to add the scope base.
Right.
Because you should be able to pull this out of the box and be able to use it.
The reason we got to guns not coming with sights on them is because manufacturers are like, oh, they're going to change them anyway, which is a fucking horseshit excuse for not adding value. They're taking value out of the equation, and now it's on the consumer to fix it.
If you threw this Magpul set on your rifle, I'm not going to take it off if I'm throwing a dot on it. I'm going to leave them on there.
Right.
Yeah. If you're throwing a 3x9 or something like that on your AR, or to shoot long distance, you're going to remove it. But if you're going to a dot, these would stay on. And they're good little, they're not super expensive. They'd add a ton of quality what comes out of the box. And if you're a company like Smith & Wesson or DPMS or Daniel Defense, whoever, that you're selling how many of them a year, you're going to get them for even cheaper. So it's not going to cost you.
I agree. And I don't, personally, I don't even give a shit if they're like Chinesium sights. I just want sights on the gun. Like you can't buy a pistol without sights on it. You can't. They all
Well,
have sights on them.
This, I don't know. Like, the Keltec P3AT exists.
That's not a real gun. We're gonna pretend like that doesn't exist, because ain't nobody with a brain buying that.
Sign off now. Okay.
Please, do you have one?
No.
Oh,
I have
Jesus
one.
Christ, Garth.
No, Nick does.
Heart.
No, I do have one. I received
Why?
I received it as a wedding gift from my wife in 2011 before the LCP came out.
You know, your wife is a sweetheart, and I'm not going to say anything bad, but that's a fucking bad gift.
At the time, it was awesome because
No, it
the
wasn't.
LCP is what brought back
It was
pocket
still
carry.
bad.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying I carried it for a lot of years
Okay.
and still do on occasion.
Okay. Well,
Because-
currently, 99.99% of pistols come with fucking sights on them.
No, you are right, and I was being a pedantic asshole. But
Yes. So, with that in mind, why the fuck are we accepting rifles without sights? I think this is a consumer issue, and that's why I always fucking rant about this shit. Put the mags in the box, put the sights on the gun, stop making the consumer suck up you taking the cost down. Like, you're gaining profit margin and making somebody spend money. Like, fuck you.
well,
You
and that's
greedy fuck.
And that's where I'm going to say you're 100% correct. Is, when you go through this and you look at it, the guys who are buying, like the ones who, so it's the mid-tier and up rifles that come with sights on them already, right?
Not all of them.
Oh, no,
I mean,
but I'm
dude,
saying,
I got a fucking $2,500 SBR sitting back here that didn't come with fucking sights on it.
but I'm saying, like, okay, Mitchell Defense and those things, like they'll come with a set of pop-ups. Like you'll see some of these. They come with a really nice case, like an actual case,
Okay.
like a backpack case, like a
Actually,
Savior.
I think if you order from their site, doesn't Mitchell just give you the option of putting whatever
they'll put whatever
optic on it you want?
Like you can do the full build up
build
from them.
it.
Yeah, like they're hey,
But
you want
that's-
this with
But that's for a fee on top
Yep.
of what you're paying. So it's
Yeah,
really no
you're-
different than going to Cabela's, buying one, and then buying the optic at the same
but
time.
I'm saying if you're doing that where you're looking at purchasing a rifle and you're going, all right, well, I'm going to do this and I just need something to make it work. But, so like Smith & Wesson was doing it on their ARs where they had the Magpul Emba sights that came with them. And those are a solid buy, a solid value. The Saints came with them from Springfield. They came with backup sights.
Somebody mentioned the front sight post or whatever, the
Yeah.
triangle sight. I'm fine with one of those and a rear sight too. I think that's totally acceptable on carbine style setups. I think that's fine.
Yep.
I think the industry has kind of shit the bed in terms of value proposition. Like, you said you have a $500 AR that shoots 1 MOA.
Yeah.
Most expensive ARs, most of them are not capable of better than that on average. Most.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that it's so. And this is one where, like, I've shot Andersons and had good luck with them, where they're reliable. I'm not going to say they're ultra accurate, but they are what they are for the price point. They go bang. They're arguably reliable. They're a good starting point for an entry level AR. Same with the PSA. And when you're looking at it, so you start pulling back where we talked about. The people who are buying that as an entry level are the ones who are going to generally have the problem affording optics and or not knowing like what they need to get. And it's I'm going to shoot this. And then you see the videos of the people at the range just shooting down the top, over the top of the rail and shooting something with no, like, oh, hey, you need to leave because you don't have sights on your rifle or AR pistol most of the time. In the videos you see from the indoor range,
holding it sidewards.
Yep, that's the thing. And to go back to what we were looking at, and talk about like today you talked about in your review. So I know that for anybody who hasn't seen it today, he talks about the Meat Prime or the Canik Mete or whatever it is Prime, and Canik is good, and they come with holsters in the box. And that's awesome because it does allow you to use them right out of the box. But if you want quality and reliable Kydex holsters, Klecker Tactical is your one-stop shop. Using premium USA source material, Klecker Tactical will build you a holster with a variety of styles and colors along with light and laser options. Whether you're in law enforcement, a competitive shooter, or an everyday gun enthusiast, trust that Klecker Tactical will provide every firearm owner has access to top-tier and personalized holsters as well as quality custom products you can't find anywhere else. Use code AR15 podcast for 10% off at KleckerTactical.com.
That's
So
good. I'm proud of you.
That's how you segue.
If I'm hearing this right, then just bear with me for a minute. If we're thinking that a good quality AR of mid-tier is a $1,200 rifle, but Nick's $500 rifle can shoot the same MOA as better rifles, shouldn't those $1,200 rifles really be in that $600 range? And if you want to spend the $1,200 on it, it should just come equipped with everything we're talking about right now. I mean,
so here's the way I look at it. And I want your opinions on this because you are the sort of AR-15 authority in the podcast space, right? So the way I look at it is the sub $800 ARs have typically plastic front and rear and A2 flash hider, A2 grip, like carbine stock, something very, very basic to its core. And we have seen some brands like PSA offer better value at those lower price points, but generally speaking, that's the way I look at it. And then when you jump into the mid tier, you start seeing nicer handguards, nicer stocks, different muzzle devices, like we were talking about, right? And then when you start going way above that is when you start getting into ambi controls, better barrel materials, billet receivers. Maybe it comes with a fancy case or a sling or some shit like that. Am I way off in my sort of expectation? Because when I think of an expensive rifle, I think of like $1,700 and up. And what's funny is mid tier used to be like 8 to 12, and it's now like
1,500,
12 to 17. Like it got expensive. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree with that, and I think inflation is like you can go through whatever because we live in a world where $350 ARs exist. And when you move past the ATI Omni, you move into like real guns and upgrade.
I have an Omni sitting over here.
But I had a guy buy one not long ago, 7.5 inch. And he goes, "So are these good?" And I went,
"No."
Well, I go, "I wouldn't take one to Baghdad." And he goes, and he was like, "But it'll just be like fun at the range." I'm like, "For that, it's perfect, man." So we live in a world where $350 ARs are a thing. And I think if I was going to say, if you're a mid-tier, and again, I'm going to go back to looking at, hey, these are the things that we think like we're coming down to. If you're going to charge over $1,500 for an AR, it should come with sights, 3 mags, and a sling. Because with those things, as long as you're wearing pants, you should be able to do like almost any introduction to AR class with 3 mags and a sling.
Yeah.
And that's legitimately all you need to start learning how to shoot. Like,
it's weird because that's almost looked at like I hear that and I'm like, oh, that's some kind of special package because the industry is so shitty at providing value. Yeah. When it comes to AR-15s. I mean, I kind of blame PSA for ruining everything, but I think you're spot on. Like if it's north of $1,500, first of all, that's not a cheap gun. And having a sling and having a bunch of mags, that's cool. That's great. That's the way it should be. You should be able to take any gun that you buy out to a training class and rock and roll with it. You should be prepared to train with it or shoot with it or whatever. Have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's I agree. And that's why I'm saying like I wanted to talk to you about it to see. So you say PSA is probably to blame with it, and I'm not going to lie, but I can't argue with their mission statement of making sure the AR is never out of the common use.
I mean, they have done an amazing job of arming millions of people. I think they have done an amazing, Dusky got it exactly correct in the comments. He said PSA is a blessing and a curse. Like the dagger has ruined semi-auto pistols. Like when you look at the semi-auto pistol market and then you compare a $900 gun to a dagger and they do the exact same fucking thing, it's hard for a person that's not an enthusiast to see the difference. And gun industry marketing is so fucking piss poor that they are doing a bad job of educating people on what those nuanced differences are. But I think one of the biggest problems with ARs as a whole right now is the accuracy standard. Because what's happening is one MOA is the standard across the board. And I think that's fucking horseshit. I think it's ridiculous that we are accepting of one MOA when a rifle is $2,000 fucking dollars. That should be half MOA all goddamn day with match ammo. You know, let's give them match ammo, right? I would say match ammo with the single MOA, you know, cheap guns too. But most ARs are just not fucking capable of putting down those kinds of groups on a regular basis.
I would say you're right. Most aren't. And I'm going to blame a lot of it on internet clout. And
what do you mean by that?
Things people say for internet clout and things people do. So some of the like Facebook groups and other like communities you see online that are like, oh, you have to do this. And, you know, they watch whatever Garantham, Flannel Daddy, this thing has to do this. And it's, you know, I'm not saying that guns shouldn't be reliable, but they compare everything through the scope of this has to be used by special forces and signed off.
Oh, yeah. Well, we as an industry push that.
But it's, you see that, and inevitably, if you are looking for the most extreme reliability, you sacrifice accuracy,
which is nonsense.
It is, but that's where we're.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had what is it? The IWI Carmel. We did a review on that, and I think it was 2.5 MOA, something like that, which I say is fucking horseshit. And the comments are like, no, it's a battle rifle. I was like, what fucking battle are we in? What are we doing here? Like, stop it. Stop it with this fucking weird battle accuracy standard of like 4 fucking MOA on a $2,500 rifle. What the fuck?
Now I can shit all over Springfield because look at the M1A.
That is not an accurate rifle.
I have one. You know, is it a cool rifle? Yeah, because
Absolutely.
It's
cool as fuck.
Yep, it's you know, like, hey, yeah, it's a M14 clone. It's cool as shit. It shoots like a 2 MOA group on a good day. You know, like 2.5 is where it's at. An FAL, you know, an FAL is, again, super cool. Like, they're rad as shit, but they're not known for accuracy.
Right. I think this is where I fall back to. It's 2025. The technology exists for us to have that superior accuracy at scale, and we choose not to employ that technology.
And Kleckert
as
said
an
it
industry.
Perfect. Why can't battle rifles have sub MOA?
Right. Why are you know, if we are capable of producing any rifle that is sub MOA, why are we not pushing that standard for the people that are trying to fucking put rounds in people's faces? Why are we not doing that? Like, because that's such a bullshit thing.
Because it's built by the cheapest bidder. Because it's the Army says all you need to do is meet this. They do it as cheap as possible so they can make the money on it.
Yeah,
it's
like
the same reason.
But what I'm saying is, like, I agree. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm saying that we have the ability to build that accuracy at such a scale that it would then become cheap, but we just allow it to not happen.
Because if I take the 2A community as a whole, or not even those that are just the people that want to go buy a rifle, if I make one that is junk at $500 and I have that $1,200 one that is as good as we're saying it is, or even an $800 one that's that good, because what most people want to do is go out and plink, they're going to continuously buy the cheaper one. Everything you're saying, John, I believe is right, and I 100% am on your back, but I think the masses have dictated they can supply the junk and the demand will keep selling it.
Well, I think both things can exist in my mind in an ideal world. I think both things can and should exist. Like, if you want a cheap rifle that is not accurate, sure, make it fucking dirt cheap, like these $350 whatever. Like, I'm fine with those rifles not shooting for shit. But when we're talking thousands of dollars, like north of 1,000, I think is already
there should be a
pushing it.
standard.
Right. If you're buying the Cadillac or rifles, you shouldn't be getting a Chevy quality. You should be getting.
It's like I'll give you an example. I drive one of my vehicles is a Sprinter van. It is a giant cargo van, and it has barely enough horsepower to get out of its own way. That's the equivalent of having a $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 AR-15 that only shoots one MOA. That's my like core issue with that is like I'm paying more, and all you get in terms of value addition is a brand name, ambi controls. You're still sometimes getting forged fucking receivers, and that's about it.
Well, and don't forget the stickers. But if you want good stickers, you need to check out the awesome stickers made by Sticker Phantom. You can get all kinds of stickers, like our based blueies. Our based blueies and Steamboat Willie stickers. They produce all of our stickers, and you can get yours at 10% off with code AR Podcast.
That was good. They're very good. I need to have you come do my ad reads.
Just slide in.
You're going to have them every show because they got to come natural or they don't exist.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, that's so that's our segues for ad reads. But,
so another thing that comes up, and this is a thing that the industry will say is most people can't shoot that well. I agree. Most people cannot. But most people also don't know how to drive a Corvette to its maximum. But most Corvettes people are capable of some incredible stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, where's the logic in this? Like,
most people don't know how to drive a Dodge Neon to what it's fully capable of. Because at one time,
I was streaming to some guy earlier today because he doesn't. People that don't know how to use the third turning lane, they will be the reason I end up in prison someday.
But like the Dodge Neon. Dodge Neon was quite literally the second fastest vehicle in Dodge's lineup, only after the Viper. And like they had a Dodge Neon SRT that was just twin turbo stupid nuts.
The SRT4 was an excellent. It was front drive, so poo on that. However, the SRT4 was cool back in the day. They also sounded really good. 2.4 liter.
Yeah, and AR Drew says, Dooley, the Neon is gone. Yeah, but also I will say this. Fun fact for anyone who didn't know this, the most bullet-resistant vehicle produced was the Dodge Neon two-door.
What is your...
Ask him how he knows.
Yeah, how did we get there?
Because I started reading a study on it, and they use sound-deadening foam in the doors. That was actually like a good ballistic analog, so it would stop bullets.
I want a Neon now. I hate that I want a Neon now.
Pull it behind the Sprint van. I can dig it. Oh, yeah.
In the comments, I watched what said he ran a Neon in SCCA. I ran a 05 WRX STI, and I refused to do front-wheel drive, even though those cars are fast and cool.
Yeah.
But now I can look back and think they're cool, but at the time,
before YouTubers were cool, there was a group that they rented a Neon, put NOS in it, and hooked the button up to the horn and took it to the track. I remember it was Hot Rod or what magazine it was in. But yeah,
no,
people they'd have been awesome on YouTube. But
there we go. So we went through that, and now we've derailed off of this. But that's what we're talking about, where it's that easy to look at. We're looking at what we're using it for materials and having where we were at for prices. Like, yeah, people might not be able to shoot as good as their gun, which, yeah, most people can't shoot as well as their gun. And that is okay. I have guns that I know I can't shoot to the ability of what the gun can do. I also have guns that I know I can shoot to, like, there's that Apex where you hit the shooter's ability and the gun's ability. And there's a point where they kind of cross and one drops off or the other one. And having guns that are at that point, I mean, again, that's where we come up with weird standards. But I agree that if you're over $1,000, sub MOA should be where it's at.
I mean, that'd be amazing. I just I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon, but I encourage anybody out there listening or watching to start demanding this sort of shit. Start demanding more for your dollar.
Would you like to know the easiest way? This is my soapbox.
If this is a sponsor segue, I am going to stab you.
No, it's not. This is me yelling into the void about something that I hate. And that is manufacturers advertising chrome-lined barrels. Chrome-lined barrels do not make things accurate. Chrome-lined barrels work for machine guns. They increase wear, and they allow you to shoot longer, especially at higher temps. That's why chrome-lined barrels exist. Was for machine guns. But if you want to have accuracy, do a nitride barrel because it will still do just as much for hardening, but you'll have more accuracy. But chrome-lined barrels are an advertising thing that people pick up on.
But that all comes back to John's point, though, of the average shooter isn't informed enough to know that crap, and so they don't do the research.
And the average
they hear phrases like that,
barrel.
And they buy it because it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a marketing issue. It's a standardization issue. I mean, we are just now getting to a point where pistols are, generally speaking, all coming out optic cut, with a few exceptions. Most decent brands are going, oh, we need to put an optic cut. We can't standardize the actual cut yet because that would be too normal, and that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and that's why I think it requires us in gun media to sort of speak up so that it starts to proliferate out through gun enthusiasts and then into gun normies. We need to sort of lead the charge in going, look, I want 3 mags. I want better accuracy. I don't care if I can't shoot that well. I want the gun to be able to outshoot me at all times.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up to you, John. Like, how do we make the manufacturers understand that, and that you do the reviews, and like you said, you get feedback from the listeners saying, well, you're just being picky. How do we get more people like us, the We Like Shooting group, the YouTubers, the guys that are doing the reviews, to say, hey, this shot 1 MOA, I paid $1,500 for it. Where do we set that threshold? Because I feel like the 1 MOA, it was an easy thing to remember and was something from the 70s and 80s where if you went and bought a hunting rifle, that's what you wanted. So where do we need to set that threshold? And when we do reviews and we're getting these new products in our hands and we say it doesn't meet that, like, where do we set that threshold? Is it at 3/4 MOA, half MOA? Like, what are you expecting? And then how do we force that?
So in my mind, anything under $1,000 can shoot in acceptably 1.5 MOA. I'm fine with anything under $1,000 shooting 1.5.
Okay.
Between 1,000 and 2,000, it's a sliding scale. As we get closer to 2,000, I expect the ability to more consistently put down sub-MOA groups. Once you get to 2,000 or higher, I expect it to shoot half MOA all the fucking time with match ammo. I think that sort of gradation across this price point is the most sensible expectation. And I understand somebody will bitch at me about this. I understand that this is unlikely to happen quickly. This is not the reason I'm saying this now, is because I want it in 5 years or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to lead the charge. Like, if we're out there going, this gun shot 1 MOA and I really expected more, that's different than it shot 1 MOA. Yeah. And just leaving it there. Like, we have to, as gun media people, we have to get out there and say, I want better. And I want more. We have to influence the crowds that thankfully listen to us be morons on the internet and hopefully change a few minds. We won't change them all. I mean, there are people that think battle rifles can acceptably shoot 3 MOA, and those people are all wrong and dumb.
Well, I'm going to say this. The shining part about the AR is the fact that it can get that, to that sub half MOA or half MOA or, sub MOA for sure, and even half MOA, accuracy. And it can do that easier than almost any other semi-automatic on the market. And
I would agree.
The reason it can do it is because of physics. And it is because of the direct impingement gas system. Because when you talk about all of the guns that it's a battle rifle, it's this, it's accurate, or it's like in this acceptable realm of accuracy that are ultra expensive, they are all piston-driven guns.
I think something that's really interesting is once you start, and this is a side discussion that we don't need to get into, once you start pushing real accuracy, sub-MOA accuracy, you are also fighting factory ammo.
Yes.
You're fighting it. And then, this is an issue that does play a part in this. You're fighting the standards of accuracy when it comes to ammunition, when it comes to bullet manufacturing.
Yeah, you're not going to use Winchester white box or
absolutely not.
Or, even, whatever. I use a lot of Igman when I'm doing, because it's cheap is what it is. It's cheap and it's not horribly inaccurate. It shoots semi-consistent. And for doing most real shooting, like I shot a BRN 180 to 400 yards using Igman 55 grain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for that platform, I would consider that acceptable. The price point on it's weird because it's expensive and it is not accurate, but it's also short.
Yeah, this is a spider web of connected issues.
It really is.
It's so difficult. And that's you guys saw probably hopefully the list of standards that I released. Yep. I don't know, probably 6 months ago. It was right before GunCon last year, and the wave that has sort of created, I have noticed even more people speaking up specifically about magazines, which is if we get 1 out of 10 right in favor of adding more value, I think we're doing good. So I've seen more and more and more people speaking out about having at least 3 mags in the box. I don't think there is an agreement, enough of an agreement on what is acceptable accuracy. I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon as like a collective group. But I think as long as we as a group of creators and people focus on the idea of manufacturers being forced to add more value as the prices get crazier for arguably like the same performance across several $1,000s of rifle. I think if we go, listen, that's a $2,000 gun, set me up with some more shit, put some stuff in the box, I think we're going to be in a good place. If we say, no, I want more. What do you guys think?
I think that holding the manufacturers kind of, for lack of a better term, feet to the fire on saying, no, this is what we accept as acceptable, or this is the standards we're willing to accept as consumers, is the big thing that people need to start coming at. And I'm not saying that we need to come together and sign a petition saying that we all agree with this.
Change.org.
You know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if we go, this is what we, the consumer, expect out of you, the producer, is, we expect to be able to take this gun out of the box and go to a class with it. there are differences for that. Like, yeah, if you're buying, I'm going to call it a boutique rifle. Like, if you're buying a 338 Lapua precision rifle, yeah, that's not going to come with iron sights.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, it can.
Put them in there. I don't care if they're dumb. 3 mags and sights on that bitch. the pick rail's this long.
Your sight radius is less than a Glock 19.
Oh, that'd be fucking fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
Like, that's what I'm saying is, but I do agree with 3 mags because, yeah, you should give me 3 Magpul AICS mags.
Well, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
But, holding their feet to the fire is the only way to do that, where it's like, hey, why doesn't this come with more? Now, that doesn't mean to nag your local gun stop clerk.
Yeah, that's not anything.
Don't yell at the guy behind the counter.
Don't be that guy.
But do yell at the companies. Like, ask them on companies when they post something, be like, hey, why doesn't this come with more mags?
Oh man, they hate that. I've been that guy.
You wanna make a difference. It's making those comments on every Facebook post, every Instagram post, every YouTube video. When they say, hey, this is what we're releasing, you go, how come there's no sites with that? How come it's
where's
no
mag?
my other mag? Ask them what it shoots. Because if you go back to the time of magazines, Car and Track, anytime they did a story on a new vehicle, 0 to 60 times, 0 to 100 times were one of the things they looked at. Why are we not holding them to what is its MOA? Like, anytime a new weapon or a new firearm is in our hands, why are we not taking it to a range saying this is what it's shooting? Because if we do it, would they do it with every car? You're gonna go. You're gonna
even if it's like, hey, this rifle. So if we're and obviously we're talking about AR-15, so I'm gonna call it 223, 5.56. But it's like, all right, hey, we're gonna buy Black Hill 77 grain match ammunition, which is almost a standard acceptable for match ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would be fine with that.
Or say Hornady, like whatever. Pick one of the known quality brands. It's all right. Hey, this brand with like run Hornady, and then like I saw 855 or say M193 spec 55 grain FMJ. That's your 0 to 60 time. Your 77 grain match ammo is your 0 to 100 or quarter mile time, however you want to put it, where one is going to be arguably less because 193 55 grain is just shot to, hey, keep it around 3,100-ish feet per second, pushing 55 grain, bullets that are arguably slightly better than a toaster. And, but the rest of it, it's like, hey, we're going to shoot Sierra Match King 77 grain bullets, at a consistent speed from a consistent manufacturer. And there we go, bang, from a lead sled on the range. This should be able to accomplish these groups, even if you don't have a sight, because it's just like, yep, pointed at the target. It should be able to produce that group.
I would say not even a sled, but just a decent set of bags.
But I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do it where it's like, hey, we need a blind test.
But so we actually tried, I had this crazy rest from Ransom Rest. I can't remember what it was called. We had this crazy rifle rest from them, and it was too ridiculous for us to drag out to the range every time. But I absolutely agree that sort of removing human would be cool if it was more simplified and easier to do.
And that's
I think we're all just banging the same drum. Like we need to have these standards created and generalized of like what's acceptable, and go, here's what this is capable of. And I think long term it could affect the industry, because right now the difference between $1,000 rifle and a $3,000 rifle in terms of AR-15s is really just features. It's not accuracy.
Correct.
It's really like the amount of guns out there that, like I've said, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we have taken ARs to the range that are fucking expensive and they don't shoot for shit. You know, like at $2,500, $3,000, these AR-10s, AR-15s that just don't fucking shoot.
Here we go. John 71 here says, might have put it best. Every car manufacturer slaps city and highway manufacturing on the or mile per gallon on the window sticker. Guns need the same.
I think that sort of thing would fuck up the industry, because then people would realize if manufacturers were open and honest about that, consumers would realize that they're really not getting that much more value, and the high-end market would collapse. And I mean, there's always guys like us that love the high-end shit. Like, I love fancy rifles. I enjoy them, but do they offer, 3x the value? Absolutely not.
Yeah, at some point you're just buying bougie stuff to buy bougie stuff.
Remember when Daniel Defense rifles were $1,500?
Yeah,
and they were good for that price?
Yeah.
Now go look at what they cost now.
I know how much they cost now. Like, and arguably an M&P Sport 3 would do almost everything it does at half the price.
And I think that's the one of the biggest challenges that the industry faces. Not like us. That's what the industry faces, is that they can't argue that they're providing, $1,000 more. The M&P 15 Sport, when it came out, was basically the same as the Dagger, because it was one of the first gun store available cheap ARs.
Yeah.
Like, when that came out, rifles were $1,000, right? And then here comes the M&P 15 Sport from a reputable company at $600 fucking dollars. And it was decent.
And you can right now still get an M&P Sport 3, like from the factory, ready to go with a red dot for an MSRP of $830.
It's not bad.
No, it's not. I mean, really, they're holding that price of $600 plus the red dot. It's right there. That value is solid. But no, like, can I jump in the comments here? Because I know there's a lot of back and forth about pistols and stuff. And this is one thing I will say, because I know Glock gets a lot of shit on these adapter plates. But at least Glock will send you 4 adapter plates for different optic cuts. So, I mean, why can't we normalize that with all pistols? Because with my quest of red dots this week, I have I bought a few plates as well. So, yeah.
Wait till you go down the rabbit hole of screw pitches.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Wait till you go down that fucking rabbit hole.
That's what he has me for.
Yeah, that's 100%. You have Google. I have Nick.
That's fair.
Well, John, I know that it is getting exceedingly late for you.
It is getting a little late.
And
I like you guys.
We do appreciate you coming on. And if they want to see these rants from you in person, like say in just over 60 days, where could they do that at?
You could attend the gun event of the summer, and it's called GunCon. It's in Cleveland, Ohio this year on June 28th at the Twist Drill building, and tickets are on sale at guncon.net. We have over 40-some companies, I can't remember the exact number, showing off their latest and greatest. Some brands are releasing multiple new products. I've heard from several brands that they're releasing new stuff at the event. First time ever. It could be the first time the public is getting hands-on. And then you can meet a bunch of gun tubers. We have over 175 of those signed up. There's a whole boatload of people coming. And you could also win something, which I think is pretty cool. All the manufacturers are told that they need to, and I tell them this, they need to give away something worth at least $250 in value or more. And last year we gave away collectively about $50,000 worth of stuff. I mean, 50 grand worth of stuff for just showing up at an event is pretty freaking rad. It's a really, really good time. It is unlike any other gun event that's going on right now. And I would love to see you. Tickets are $50 at guncon.net. That includes your lunch and a t-shirt. You should really be there. It's Cleveland's super easy to get to from anywhere on the eastern half of the country. And it'll be great.
I know that we are looking forward to be there, and we've enjoyed it. I've said it before. It is my favorite event of the year.
That's awesome.
Here we go. Bob from Gideon Optics says Patton definitely prize bullied me in the potty trailer last year.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know, but I'll allow it.
That's kind of some kind of Bob Hood slang right there.
Well,
Whatever
guys,
he says, it's not true.
yeah. Well, just listen to John though. He has given away a lot of stuff. Okay, 2 years ago, I won 1,000 rounds of 38. I'm still shooting it. Awesome ammunition.
That's
it was
great.
a fun time. Yeah, super awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to do it again this year, and hopefully again the following year. And the way we continue to bring an event that's actually focused on enthusiasts every single year is by people showing up and supporting and buying tickets.
Yeah, guys, it really is fun. I know you've heard us yelling about it every week since more or less tickets came on.
Are you really? That's awesome.
We have been, yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank
Actually, one of the best parts about GunCon is, yes, you get to have hands-on with all the people there, but they want your feedback. Everything we've been talking about tonight, every vendor there wants your input on their products, because that's the only way they can make their stuff better. So if you guys have a gripe, moan, or concern about something you have, check the list. If they're going to be there, buy a ticket, show up. Be cordial about it, but show up.
I mean, I set the tone, and I say, look, this is not a corporate stuffy event. There are no big booths. Everybody gets the same size space in terms of brands. And a lot of times what's even more interesting is owners show up. The executives of these companies show up because they want to engage with you guys. And that doesn't always happen at some of these events. That does not happen every single time. And you don't get that same level of access.
No, and it's super rad. Like, I got to have a discussion with an engineer from Yankee Hill about like mounts and things like that.
Yeah, and they're you know, the tone of the event is not adversarial. So when you say, "Hey, why is it like blank? You know, why isn't it this way? Why aren't you putting 3 mags in the box?"
Mm-hmm.
That is well, here's why it's an open two-way conversation, because the event is about enthusiasts building a stronger gun community, and that's what we're going to do again. Correct. June 28th, be there.
No, yes. It's a rad time. Like John said, other events you could go to, they might be there, but they might not have the time for you. Here, they make the time because they want to be there. They want your information. They want your input. So come to GunCon in Cleveland. It's going to be a fantastic time. We're going to be there hanging out. We can't wait to hang out with John and all the other podcasters we like and know. So it's going to be a super fun time.
Yes, it is. So as we go, guys, any parting words of wisdom as we start to wrap up the show? Joe, you got anything?
Yeah, same as always. Go out there, add this to your social media stuff. Bully the companies until they get what we want out of them. Share and like the influencers in the media that you like. Guys like us, guys like John. Get that stuff out there. Keep sharing it. Grow the community. We've got a voice. We just need to use it. Unfortunately, it seems to be more let's fight with each other than fight the real enemies.
Sure.
Yep. Garth, you got anything?
Yeah. Guys, if you haven't joined the Patch of the Month Club, what are you doing? Check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. For $15, you can get awesome patches every month, like the one Nick is holding in his hand currently. They have 10 signs. I love the one I have to my right now. I'm your Huckleberry, because I'll be that guy someday. They have stickers. They have cleaning mats, which I use for my mouse pad. Yes, mouse pads are fantastic, but cleaning mats are super cool. I have the AR one in front of me, so someday when I actually take mine apart, I know how to put it back together again, because I was not good at Legos. So check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
You know, it's funny. I have a Patriot Patch cleaning mat right over here that I've had for years, and it holds up. We beat the crap out of it.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, really good. Two things. The guy in the comments that said Jesse at Double Star. One of the biggest challenges I have is that I'm one dude. Like, I'm not these big organizations. I can't reach everyone. So telling people about GunCon and growing it organically and spreading the word, that's the way this works. And more companies will know about it over time. So thanks for talking to Jesse about that. I really appreciate you even mentioning it, because that's fucking cool.
That's also where we go share that stuff. Go to John's Facebook or to his Instagram or GunCon's Instagram and share that to your feed, share that to your stories so your friends and other people see it.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Also, my parting words for this evening, they don't think it be like it is, but it do.
Fair enough. And now everyone knows what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell you all that, look, no one is coming to save you. You will be your own first responder. Expect to self-rescue. Go get training. Go get medical training. And you folks out there, you stay safe and stay on.
Thanks for listening to the AR-15 podcast. Check us out on all our social media. AR-15 podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. AR-15 podcast 2.0 on Instagram. If you want to send us a question, rant, or suggestion, email us at AR-15podcast2.0@gmail.com. That's the number 2, period, the number 0. If you want to be part of the daily conversation, you can find us at Discord, AR-15 podcast. Don't forget to check out dangfree.net. Sign up is simple and free, and you can communicate with us, other podcasters, and you, the listeners. Lastly, check out all our sponsors: Patriot Patch Company, BZ Grips, Slacker Tactical, and Sticker Family.